I'm gonna start off by saying it was very, very difficult for me to put together words to describe how I feel about this movie. Just so we're clear, I'm talking about The Dark Knight Rises, the third installment of the trilogy that is Christopher Nolan's take on Batman. The Dark Knight has been my favorite movie for 4 years, and I've been anticipating the release of this movie for a very long time. And it didn't disappoint. And here's a fair warning, if you don't like Batman, I'd leave now. Alright, The Dark Knight Rises. So far I've seen it 4 or 5 times in theaters, a few times online, and at least twice on Blu-ray. And that's time well spent, because the first time you watch a movie like this, you have to oogle all the special effects and action, as well as analyze the acting and drool over Joseph Gordon-Levitt. The next few times you watch it is to patch up any confusion that was a result of trying to understand the intricate plot of a Christopher Nolan film. And that's part of the ride, trying to catch up your brain to all the shit that's going on. I liked how the very first words were, "I knew Harvey Dent." It's just a quick bit of Gordon's speech, which is right before the kick-ass plane scene, that helps connect this movie and the previous one right away. It also lays down the foundation of the film by bringing up Dent, because this entire time the citizens of Gotham have been believing this lie about their white knight, their false idol, which ultimately comes crashing down on their faces. The kick-ass plane scene was one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. It was so well done. The first time Bane's face is revealed is so scary, which is awesome. Best first impression ever. His "crashing this plane" line was so good. His eyes were wild and terrifying, and it was just amazing. Tom Hardy is a brilliant actor, but I'll get to him later. So I never really understood the Dr. Pavlov blood transfusion thing. Okay, so they want the world to think that this man is dead, but why? They launched their attack on the city 6 months later, but why would it matter if everyone knew he was alive? He dies at the football stadium anyway. But besides that, why was blood pumped into his dead body? Like, I get that they wanted his DNA in the dead body so that people would believe that he was dead, but aren't bodies identified with, like, fingerprints or dental records or something? Anyway, Catwoman. All of the critics that say this movie is too dark, they were wrong, of course. All agree that she's one of the greatest things about this movie. And I liked how she wasn't exactly Catwoman, she was the cat burglar with goggles that when pulled over her head looked like cat ears. And this is a good way to do it because it's a way to have the character Catwoman with the image and everything, but to keep it in a more realism style that Christopher Nolan has been doing for Batman. Another one of my favorite scenes is her scene with Stryver in the bar. It's so cool. The music was just perfect for her character, and she was just excellent. To all you people who say that Anne Hathaway would make a good Catwoman, I say, ha! She was extraordinary. That almost breathy voice that she developed for her character was a perfect fit. I've seen her in many roles, and this didn't influence my perception of her version of Catwoman at all. She was Selina Kyle, she was badass, and she was hot. Speaking of hot, I do need to say that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a beautiful man, and I need to have all of his children. I loved 500 Days of Summer, but in that, he's a boy. And in this, he's a man. When he goes to visit Bruce Wayne and describes how he knows that Bruce is Batman, that monologue that he performs is just so amazing. Not only can I see the pain in his eyes, but I can see the pain in his soul. Anyway, he was a very sexy cop, and I loved it. I can't even. All the other actors were excellent too. I appreciated the return of all the old characters like Fox, Gordon, and of course Caine, who just progressively became more of a joke as the movies went on. And Alfred, oh geez. Alfred broke my heart. Michael Caine is a very talented actor, and his heartbreak was my heartbreak. The special effects were definitely comparable to those of The Dark Knight, maybe even better. The all-out war scene was just unbelievable. I got chills on the scene where the cops are just scared shitless while they're walking towards the prisoners of Blackgate Prison, and then Batman swoops in front of them, and then they all charge, and the music starts, and they all start fighting, and it's awesome! Geez, sorry. Such a powerful scene. I think it's so cool that their morale was inspired by Batman, this man that they cast out as a criminal for 8 years. The fighting was amazing. Those 2 fights between Batman and Bane were just finger-biting crazy. That's the thing though, I wanted more of that, more face-off time between Batman and Bane. Which brings me to Bane. Oh geez. Right now I just love Tom Hardy and everything that he does. He's just so talented. I think most of you already know, but he put on 30 pounds of muscle for this role. That's dedication. I understand that his voice was very controversial. In the initial screenings, a lot of people were complaining that it was difficult to understand what he was saying because of the combination of his raspy voice and the mask over his face. Even I still sometimes have a difficult time understanding what he's saying. But you know what? I loved his voice. My heart stopped every time he spoke. His character was intelligent and deliberate, so strong, and so scary. I love the scene where Gordon gets captured and brought down into the tunnels. It's another good introduction scene for Bane. The music combined with the slow zoom in on his bulky, scarred back just gives me the chills every time. Sorry. That part where he kills the guy without even breaking eye contact with the other guy, he just snaps his neck with one hand. Ugh. The intimidation is just so present. And when he destroys Batman and breaks his back almost effortlessly, all hope is lost for even me, and I'm just watching it. Not just his voice, but the way he speaks too is just great. That's the thing about villains. They never stutter, trip, or do anything embarrassing. Also, the speech he delivers before releasing all the prisoners from Blackgate Prison is really well written. And then towards the end, when we discover that he actually is not the child who escaped the pit, and it is in fact Talia al Ghul, aka Miranda Tate, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, your image of him changes. He had someone whom he loves, someone he fought for, who he did everything for. After Talia al Ghul stabs Bruce, she says goodbye to Bane, and you can just see all of the love and pain in his eyes, and they just make mine water every time. Tom Hardy did a fabulous job depicting all of the emotion, and he did it with just his eyes. Anyway, she leaves and he's all like, "We both know I'm gonna have to kill you now. You'll just have to imagine the fire." And then he turns into the Bane we all know and love before he's blown halfway to hell by Selina Kyle. Ironically with a gun. Booyah. And even though it was kind of cool to see, Bane is built up to be this person who's not defeated easily. He breaks Batman physically and mentally, and almost effortlessly takes over Gotham City, and he's just killed by Catwoman. It happened so quick, like it was nothing. If anything, I wanted something more epic than that, like a death match with Batman or a big explosion or something. Anyway, Talia was a bitch, but I did enjoy her little monologue about the knife and the fire and the burning. So yeah. All in all, a phenomenal movie, and truly an act of cinematic brilliance. Wait, last thought. Why the hell is the guy from Reno 911 in it? He plays like a doctor for like 2 seconds. I love Batman!